Well, hello. It looks like I'm live. Good afternoon, good evening. How is everybody doing? I'm just turning on my comments and oh wow, there are so many people already here. Thank you for joining me on a Sunday evening. I know you've made time for this, and I'm very excited to be part of this Hero Arts Mixed Media event that has had two guest artists so far in Lydia and Libby, and they have been amazing. I was traveling the last couple of weeks, but I did manage to catch the replay of their lives. So if you're not able to stay here the whole time, just know that you can always watch the replay on YouTube and on the Facebook group, no matter where you're joining us from today. I would actually want to give us all a minute as people are joining in. There's somebody here, Rita Maria from Guatemala. If you could tell me where you are, I would love to know where everybody's coming in from. I see people from Texas. Erica saying dinner will just have to be late tonight. Better yet, there are leftovers. That is perfect. I ordered in as well. And my daughter is on a play date. She's swimming because it's freakishly hot over here in the Bay Area in California. And so she's on a play date, swimming at a friend's house in their pool. And my dog is somewhere in the house, napping on some window seat. And I am here ready to get inky and messy with all of you. Hello, Lee. Hello, Christina. Welcome, Alicia. Welcome, Holly, Jennifer, Erica, Gretchen, Sandy. Thank you so much for making time to be here today from Montana. Aloha from Montana. You do not need to subscribe, but if you subscribe, you'll get notifications for other videos that go up. So it's always good to subscribe, I think, for channels that you like to follow. Hi from Arizona, from Pennsylvania, from New York City, and from Texas. I am loving that we are so well represented here from different parts of the country, different time zones. Northern California, well, we're in the same time zone, 5 o'clock on a Sunday evening. So excited for all of you to be here. I just wanted to quickly say a few words very, very quickly about myself. I am a mixed media artist. I have been doing mixed media art now for almost 6 years, and I kind of art landed into my life, or re-landed into my life, I should say. I have no art background, no professional training, yet you see I have built a studio chock full of art supplies because I love getting messy, I love experimenting, I love playing, I love unleashing the 3-year-old in me, and I hope to encourage to do the same for you today. As with every single workshop that I ever do, my goal and only goal is for you to have fun, to do it afraid, and to not really think, to keep your brain outside of your head, to really just go in there with curiosity and just with the intention for this next hour to be full of fun, full of grace and kindness for yourself, and just play along, just kind of see where curiosity leads you. The last time I did a Hero Arts mixed media stamp along, I know a lot of brains exploded because I was just kind of doing my thing and not knowing where everything was going, and enjoying the process, which was a bit chaotic, to be honest, for somebody not used to my way of playing. But I think a lot of you found your voice through that process and really allowed me to push you off that cliff and into the abyss, and found yourselves emerging from it like a phoenix, stronger and with new ideas and with more creativity and with more inspiration. So I'm hoping that today will be the same. I see somebody from New Zealand. Karen, you were watching it during lunch. Well, perfect. It should be live in the group, Brianne. It was scheduled to go live in both places, on Facebook and on YouTube. So I am checking at my end. It shows that it's live. Let me check on my iPad. We just want to make sure that people on the Facebook group are not left hanging, because they are supposed to be seeing this event live as well. So just bear with us over here for 1 second. Hero Arts, Mixed Media. Here we go. Is anybody else on Facebook and can verify for me? Because I can I suppose I can restart the broadcast if need be for the Facebook group. I don't seem to be able to find it either. If anybody else is on Facebook on the Hero Arts Mixed Media page and can help us verify if this is going live on the Facebook page, I would really, really appreciate it. I see events. I see that in events. For some reason, I don't see my live video in there though. What should we do, Brianne? What do you propose? What's the best course of action here? Because it doesn't show me here. Karen, I'm sorry you couldn't see it on Facebook. So in the settings here, it says that this is streaming on. Well, what do you suppose we can do? Should I just restart this and do it again? Or let me see if I can add a new destination here. Broadcast to group. The group is Hero Arts, Mixed Media with Hero Arts, and add. I can end this broadcast and I can restart it if that's what you would prefer. Just let me know, Lee and Brianne, if that's what you would like me to do. It will still come back here on YouTube and we should be able to see it. Okay, all right, Brianne, if you want to post for everyone to, I'm sorry about that. I know I see that in my connected destinations, but I don't know why it's only streaming to one account. If you prefer, I can just restart. Just let me know what you would prefer, because I don't want people missing out on this on Facebook. Oh, technology, just when I thought I had everything figured out with 2 camera settings and all of that. Oh, you had to leave YouTube, went back to Facebook, clicked the link again, and here I am. Oh, okay. So I'm streaming on Facebook now? Is that what everybody's saying? That I am there? Because I don't know. It's kind of weird to not have, this should really be a Zoom call. If we have less than 100 people, I think I can totally do Zooms next time onwards also. Although I know not everybody can, but it would be nice to see you all, because I just feel like I'm talking here to myself. I see the comments coming in, which is nice and lovely, but it would be nice to have a back and forth. I don't see myself yet on Facebook. If Brianne, you're okay with just posting about it and redirecting people here to YouTube, that's fine with me. If you would like me to restart this broadcast, I can do that as well. Either way, just let me know. Ollie has decided to come in here with a bully stick and he is chewing on that. So it brought you back to the YouTube live. Okay. All right. So we're hearing it's not on Facebook. It is on YouTube is working. Okay. Let's start then. Without further ado, I will switch my camera here so that you can see what I have on my table. So I'm going to try something that I haven't tried before. I have 2 cameras right now. So I have one, you can see this is one angle, which is a slanted angle. And the reason I wanted this angle was for close-up. So you could actually appreciate the textures since we're going to be working with texture paste. And then I have the overhead, which is, you're all used to the overhead. So this is where we kind of do the instruction aspects of things. And then I'll add my little face here in this box so that you can see me as I'm talking and walking you through this process. So I recently, as I said, was in Paris. Thank you, Alicia. I do love this top a lot. I was in Paris for almost 2 weeks, and I had a lot of fun over there. I didn't do much touristy stuff, but I did become a traveler, which was nice. It was fun to see it in a different light with my daughter. It was her first time in Europe. She had a lot of allergies growing up, so we never went anywhere. This was her first long haul flight, and just seeing Europe through her eyes was a revelation. And as I always do, I was carrying my art supplies. I have a video on my Facebook page and on Instagram that details the supplies I carry with me in my bag. But I thought I'll quickly show you what I had. So I had pre-cut watercolor paper, 2x4 inches in my bag. These are not 2x4 inches. They're a little bit bigger, but roughly this size. These are deckled edges. Some are just straight. But I had made 56 of these for the trip, and I just kept them in my bag. I had a water brush, which is basically a brush that is filled with water so that I could paint while I was traveling. And I didn't have to worry about, dipping my brush in a cup or something like that. I also had a regular brush for painting when I was at home at our Airbnb. And then I have these two mini palettes. So one of these is from a Work of Art studio, which is in San Jose. It's a studio, beautiful studio that is run by Andrea Sheblo, and I love her art. So she has these mini palettes that are filled with Daniel Smith colors. So I had this, and then I had this one made on Etsy. It says create with your heart and your hands will follow, which, as most of you know, is my mantra. And so this is also a mini palette, and I fill this up with my Daniel Smith colors, and it has a palette, and it's magnetic, so it's nice to close. So I carried these two with me at all times, and I would just take these out. And I just wanted to give you a quick demo because Libby also mentioned, a lot of you actually, Brianne did too, as I was sharing these tags, as I was making them and handing them out to people. I don't speak French very well, but the fact that I could hand this to someone at the end of a meal or at the end of an Uber drive, and just say thank you. They saw the thank you on it, and they saw that I had written merci beaucoup on the back with their name, because I always ask their names. And language didn't seem to be a barrier. And I loved that I was able to convey my gratitude in a tangible form, see that smile on their face, and just spread happiness and kindness. So, which is why I figured, today we could do this. We could turn a piece of paper. All of us are very talented here. Whether or not you agree with me is different, but I think all of you are very talented. We're all our worst critics. I just want you to think of this as an opportunity for you to practice whatever it is you want to practice as it pertains to mixed media, or if it pertains to sketching, or if it pertains to watercoloring. Anything that you want to get better at, anything that you want to practice more of, think of these as your mini canvases, paint on them, and it doesn't matter how it turns out, because when you hand it out, the recipient will not be expecting it, will be overjoyed that you took the time to make something for them, and then you write something personal on the back for them. I've had people, I've been doing this for 5 years in my own local community and wherever we've traveled within California. I have been doing it for 5 years. I've handed out thousands of these. And I have had people whom I have seen after 3 years, after 5 years, like when I went in for my mammogram, the tech, she took it out of her wallet and she said, I saved this from your last mammogram visit to remind me that people care. And when I gave a gratitude tag to a steward on our flight, and I will start making, I'll show you what I made so that you can see how easy it was. What I did was fairly simple. When I handed it out to one of the stewards on our flight, he teared up. His name was Tony. He teared up. This is on the United flight from Paris to San Francisco. He teared up and he said, I have been doing this job for 30 years and not once has anybody given me anything like this. They say thank you. This is in business class where the sense of entitlement, I will say, is very, very high. We splurged on that. But for him to say that it's been 30 years he's been working and he hasn't been given a tangible note of thanks, it just breaks my heart. People always ask his name when they want to complain, but nobody's ever taken the time to just thank him, to ask his name because they want to thank him. And it just hurts. It just hurts that we can be so obnoxious in our sense of entitlement and in just being so immersed in ourselves and not taking the time to thank people. These are people that work really, really hard. And you may find your grocery store clerk, that you want to thank, or the mail person that delivers your mail. You see how simple this is? This literally is 30 seconds of art. Every single person here can do this. Every single person. You don't need to know watercoloring. You really don't. And just some flicks. And then, of course, my favorite thing, do some splatters. Add a little bit of gold, and you are done. And you don't have to have a mini palette. So don't start making up excuses and say, oh, Mansi has a mini palette and probably this works with those paints. Because I do this too when I see other people make art that I find a little bit daunting or that they make it look easy. I do the same thing, trust me. I say, oh, it's because, they have this tool and I don't have this tool. Or they probably have years of practice and I don't. Well, years of practice is not going to happen on its own. You got to start somewhere, right? So this is your years of practice starting now. All you do is that. I will show you with the Hero Arts liquid watercolors how to paint this as well, so you have no excuses to say that you don't have a watercolor palette. And then all I did with these tags on the flight and everywhere in Paris was I have this roll of thank you stickers from Amazon. I also have washi tape that says thank you, and I would stick that on. So stick this on and then take a gold pen and just make a border. You can do dots, you can do crooked lines. I have shaky hands, but I think that just makes it look very organic. I own my shaky hands, and I just, this can be done with reactive inks. It can be done with colored. My daughter was doing it with colored pencils. I mean, you really are not restricted in how you can create gratitude tags for people. Really, you're not. And if you want, you can add some gold dots to the flowers. It's just the idea of a flower. It's not any particular flower, right? We have no texture in this. This is a very, very simple watercolor painting that took literally 30 seconds. I did this in real time with you. So I know that you can do it. So give this a try. I will do another one with the liquid watercolors, and you can see that it'll work just the same. You can also do it with alcohol inks, actually. This is my alcohol ink palette. But let's just drop in some watercolors here, the Hero Arts ones. I love the warm colors, so I'm just gonna do those. And I know that this is a mixed media class, and I will add texture paste. We will get to that, but I'm trying to start you off easy and trying to give you some ideas on how to make something that doesn't have to be perfect, that you can practice with, that you can then hand out, give away, make someone's day. And actually not just make someone's day. Sometimes, I have found it turns somebody's day around. And I have had emails from people saying when they are upset about a customer interaction or they feel devalued or underappreciated, they look at that tag as a reminder that they matter. So you have the power of turning a blank piece of paper, as I said, into something that matters to someone. So why not do that? We are we stop ourselves from just doing this. We really do. And so you see, I'm just doing blobs. I'm going to do different kinds of flowers because it's really the idea of a flower. You don't have to paint a specific kind. You really don't. It doesn't have to be perfection in any sense of the word. It's you just playing. And this was me literally just playing every single day. We were sitting at the Eiffel Tower. My daughter got very, very anxious. It was super crowded. So we climbed up to the second floor. We sat there by the elevators on the ground, very, very dirty ground of the Eiffel Tower. I took out my paint supplies and we started doing this. This is exactly what we started doing over there. And I, after about 2 minutes, saw these security guards come up and they started saying something to each other in French. And I thought, okay, we're going to get ousted. They're probably going to tell us to pack our supplies. So I start packing up the paint palette. I started closing it. And then he says, no, stop. It's okay. We're just going to make sure nobody disturbs you. And they put ropes around us. So we were cordoned off. So they had one rope like this and one rope like this. So we're in this little rectangle. And then all the crowds are passing by. And we're sitting there painting gratitude tags. It was the most hilarious thing ever. And then I saw people making videos of us as if, we're some resident artists at the Eiffel Tower. I gave the gratitude tags, obviously, to the security guards, and they were thrilled to bits. We didn't speak much French. They didn't speak much English, but it was a fantastic experience, one of the most memorable Eiffel Tower experiences, really. So you see, look at that. Look at that. This, I think, is way more vibrant because of just the nature of these watercolors, these liquid watercolors. You don't need a lot. This will go a long, long, long way. And just be creative, it doesn't have to be anything particular. Absolutely not. It can be whatever you want it to be. And then add some splatters because you're an artist, and why not? It just makes it more artsy looking, I think. And then take your gold pen. So I just love doing this. This is very, very calming for me. I see people tuning in. Yes, you can watch from the beginning. This is going to be available for replay. I'm just showing you how to make very, very easing you in to watercolors and showing you watercolors are not something that have to be technical. It doesn't have to be, of course you can take classes and perfect your art, but you don't have to feel overwhelmed or daunted by a medium that is unfamiliar to you. You can make it work for you. You really can. And I'm just going to add some gold over here. just make it yours. Own it. It doesn't have to be these flowers. These are simply blobs. Simply blobs. So this is the second one. This probably took a minute. This one was 30 seconds, right? And then imagine the joy that someone who is seeing you paint this live at a restaurant as you're waiting for your food to come, imagine the joy that they get when they realize you were painting it for them, to hand it out to them. That to me is the biggest gift. It's when I see their eyes light up and they go, oh, you were painting this for me? That happened on both our flights, where all the people that were coming and giving us drinks and food and all, checking in on us, making sure we were okay. And then they would comment on, oh, these flowers look beautiful, or this is so pretty. And then at the end of the flight, I handed it out. The look on their faces, there was a 25-year-old and she said to me, I will save this for the rest of my career as a reminder that kindness exists. Goosebumps. I'm still getting goosebumps from that one statement because it shows me the power that these hold. This isn't just a simple note of thanks. This means something to the people getting them, which is why I continue making them. So I'll show you some examples of what I have done recently with the Hero Arts gold wax, the texture paste, and the watercolors. This is one. I will shift my camera so you can actually appreciate the texture on this one, my camera angle. So this one is a lot of texture. Let's see, where's the camera here? You see how textured this is? This is almost like a fresco kind of plaster painting. And I added some gold flakes to it. And there's just the watercolor doing its thing. This is on cardstock. It's regular cardstock paper. This is not on watercolor paper. We will do something like this today in the next 40 minutes. And then I did this one. This is, again, a lot of texture paste and stencils, the Hero Art stencils. And this is watercolor running through the paste. This was not cut. And I want to insist that there's nothing perfect about these. This was not even cut. This was not even cut straight. You can see it's a crooked, like this is not the same size as this, the bottom and the top. But you can make it work. You can make it look pretty, right? And then all of these, I'm just going to use this camera angle because I think it captures the texture way more. You can see how it's kind of raised from the watercolor paper. This is on watercolor paper. And these tags, the ones that I'm showing you now, the next couple of these, are going to be on Made TV. So Made TV is like HGTV, and it is for makers. It is for all kinds of different things, flower arrangement, for acrylic paintings, for painting furniture, for doing my kind of mixed media art. And I'm one of their featured artists. The channel is launching in August 30th or 31st, I think. And I'm not sure. But I'll be sending out details about that in my newsletter. If you're subscribed, that's great. If you're not and you want, you can go to my website, mansimakes.com, and subscribe to my newsletter. But these will all be shown in that as a tutorial using Hero Arts products. So I am really excited about sharing this with a much wider community, not just people that follow me here and through my own social media channels. But these are all just to showcase to you that you can go so elaborate with your gratitude tags. You can spend hours on them like I did in these, or you can just make them very, very simple like I just did over here, right? So you can go either way. When you're on the road, go for simplicity, go for something that can be done on the go. Just hand these out. You can also do something else that I do. I just scrape paint on, so I cut these out, I punch the holes already, ready to go. And then I just scrape paint. So these are my blank templates. And then when I have the time, so I'll do this in bulk. And when I have the time, I will work on these, over these, and add layers and layers of mixed media and turn them into something like this, right? So this has like, again, let me switch cameras so you can appreciate the details. And I shared this to encourage you to explore, because this is dried up paint from a bottle cap, acrylic paint. This is part of a die cut that had texture on it. Where's my camera? Right here. So you can see how this is very, very layered. And this started out like all of these here, right? So you can make it what you want to make it. Another one that I did, this is all finger painting. This is with my pinky finger and texture paste. Yeah, so you can just do swirls and it looks like roses. You can make it what you want to make it. This is again finger painting. with texture paste and acrylic paint and added some gold flakes in that. And they all of these, you can see they're all the same size. They all start out like this. So you can have a base just to get over your fear of white paper. Just have a base, just spread some paint and then build on that. So it can turn from this to this or from this to this. They're all very different, but they're all uniquely you because you made them. So just some ideas there for you to explore. Now I have a couple of different substrates for today. I always throw a lot at you, so don't get overwhelmed. I will show you certain things, but I don't want you to feel restrictive in what I am showing you. I show you all of this to expand your own horizons so you can explore. Now this is on watercolor paper with washi tape. So this here is washi tape. It's a washi tape flower. And then I added the stem and I used a black outliner. So it doesn't even look like washi tape, right? It's a washi tape roll. This is also washi tape roll. Doesn't look like washi tape. It looks like a flower I sketched. I cannot sketch a flower like that, but I made it look like I sketched it. So use your supplies in different ways. Think of expanding the way you use them, stretching them, get the most out of them. If you don't actually even need to have a studio. Honestly, you don't. I mean, this is a splurge. This really is just a want, not a need. You just, if you have basic supplies, you're good. So I'm going to play today, and I thought it would be fun to use some black watercolor mixed media paper. So I have some black. I just usually have these cut out either 2x4, 3x5. You can also have them longer. Some people like to use them as bookmarks. So these bigger ones, they would probably use as bookmarks. The smaller ones, I know that people keep them in their wallets. So just use whatever you have. Don't worry about doing a certain format. Because Mansi said, it doesn't matter. Use whatever you have. Use scraps, use this as your mini canvas. Think of it as a template and template to chill, as Kimberly is saying. Chill, relax, have fun. That's the most important thing, because if you're not having fun, you're not doing it right. Trust me. So what we're going to do now, we're going to be our 3-year-old selves and we're going to explore. So what I did this afternoon was I tried out some things with texture paste. So I used Hero Paste, which is the white paste here. And there are a couple of ways to go about this. I'm going to try first with the black watercolor paper because I'm very curious about how this will work since I have not done this before. And I tend to put my fingers in everything, but today I am going to try to do it a bit more the way artists should do it or teachers should do it, I guess, using tools. I will end up using my fingers. I'm just like not promising anything, but I'm going to try to do it the right way. I have been told that I shouldn't be using my fingers for various reasons, and they're all good reasons, but that's just kind of my go-to is my fingers. And let's take some colors. So I usually just go with primaries. I will use a yellow. So when you put your watercolor drops in your white texture paste, just know that it will be a lighter shade of the color that you're using. It won't be as deep. It will be more of a pastel shade because of the white. And you don't need more than a drop. You really don't. And I know that either Lydia or Libby, one of them, had done a demo earlier, last week or the week before, where they had mixed watercolor into their texture paste. So this is not something that's entirely new to you. You can vary the depth of the colors that you're using by changing the amount of watercolor you put into it. I don't see any reason not to use my fingers either. But hey, it's all good. It's all good. Use whatever you feel comfortable using. If you want to, wear your gloves and do this whole thing, that's fine too. Who am I to judge? Whatever makes you feel comfortable. As long as you're not letting stress creep into it, it's all good. And for me, as soon as I start getting stressed out about something, I switch gears. I move fast. So do the same. That would be my only advice to you. I'm going to use my favorite supply in the art room, which is the paper towel. Can be used for so many things. Let's keep that one white and let's see what happens, because I haven't done this before. So this is all an experiment. So thank you for bearing with me here and seeing. I'm going to switch cameras again so you can see how the texture paste actually looks on this. So it's a very simple thing. You remember how I did the blobs with the watercolor? With a paintbrush? we're just going to try to make this look like a flower. It doesn't matter which flower because flowers come in all shapes, forms, colors. As long as it looks like it's a flower, it's fine. Just add bits of... It's actually looking nice on black, isn't it? And it's just going to dry up. Now you can't use watercolors on black paper unless they're metallic for them to show. So I thought this would be a really cool way of using black watercolor paper if you mixed watercolors and texture paste. It's almost like having thick acrylic paint on this, except it's not thick acrylic paint and it will dry thick. And I think that'll be really, really cool. And then just take some white, and if it all mixes in together, that's fine too. Okay, we'll see how long Mansi's tool using resolve lasts. Oh my gosh, I hate using tools. Okay, I'm just gonna use my fingers. Sorry people, this is just I just cannot tolerate not using my fingers. Okay, so we're just going dab, dab, dab. Dab, 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 dab. Use some blue over here. Dab, dab, dab. Spread it out. This kind of looks like a flower. And then we add some green to the mix. I'm not doing anything elaborate. This is literally what a 3-year-old can do. And that's what I started out saying, that we are not going to make it complicated for ourselves. But when we see the final result, it is going to look textured. It is going to look amazing. It is going to look unique. I guarantee that you cannot replicate this a second time because the way your fingers will move, the way these colors will kind of go and do their thing, it's all going to be different each time. And that to me is the beauty of doing it this way, because every time you hand somebody a tag, it's going to look different because you can't help it. You cannot help it. It's just the nature of it. And so you do some dabs and then you do some spreading around. And suddenly it has this very organic, and it starts drying up so fast, this texture paste. I'm using this angle. Just let me know if you don't like this angle, but I thought this would be a much closer look than seeing it overhead. So you can actually appreciate where I have the peaks, the valleys, the spreading out, the flatness of it all. But let me know if this is not working for you and I will switch it up because I can. I have the ability to do that. I just want to make this viewing experience for you also a bit more interesting, so it's not just overhead. And you can actually see, because I feel like the overhead doesn't capture the texture as much as this angle does. You see how beautiful that looks, just that texture? I'll switch to the overhead now so you can see what it's looking like. That's what it looks like. See? I mean, it's just so simple. It's just so simple. I just love the simplicity of this process. And I don't think I would have tried this out or had the courage to try it out if this wasn't a gratitude tag, if this wasn't a smaller format. I wouldn't have, because I would have been so fearful that I would mess it up somehow. Now, since I'm doing the raised bits a little bit over there, I'm just going to kind of blend the whitish bits in. And then the beauty of this is that you can actually see, this is on black watercolor paper. I mean, it's amazing. The beauty of this is you can add depth to this by dropping another bit of deeper red if you want. And then of course you can add gold or some metallic watercolors to this too. So you just swirl that around. If you want, you can spray it. Let's spray and see what happens. That's my favorite line. Let's do this and see what happens. Who knows, I might just ruin it. But there's nothing like ruining it because we didn't really have an agenda to begin with, right? So you can't ruin something that you don't even know what you were doing. You can ruin things when you know what you were aiming for. You can't ruin something if you don't know what you were going for. So here, I think that this is not as yellow as I'd like it to be, and I love my yellows. So I'm just gonna add, so you can keep tweaking it, you see? You can just keep tweaking it. Just keep dropping stuff, just keep swirling things around, see where it takes you. And you can do multiple flowers, you can do one flower, you can do now a heat gun on this if you just want to arrest or move this around. Just a little bit of heat. so it doesn't keep overflowing. The yellow is not quite as sharp as I wanted it to be. And then my favorite thing to do when things seem like they've all kind of blended together is use a Posca marker. This is the biggest one I have. And just kind of do that, do that. It's just dabs. It's literally just dabs. I'm just making it look artistic, whatever that means, right? And then we can take a tool and maybe add some scratches here and there. The texture paste is still not very dry. So you know I am totally flying by the seat of my pants here. There is nothing that I know how to do. So this is what I mean, that, you know, this is what I mean. I am not here to teach you. I am not here to tell you how to do things a certain way. I'm here to encourage you to play, because literally what you witness me doing every time is me just being a 3-year-old playing, experimenting, seeing where this goes, what works, what doesn't work. What doesn't work, I smudge out, I spread around. What works, I let it be. So this became kind of weird. I don't like it. So I'm just gonna like smudge around this bit here. Maybe I just need to add some more blue or some green. So you see, it's all just tweaking. It's all just tweaking. It's all just playing. It's saying, hey, do I like this? No, I don't really like it that much. Okay, well then I can change it up. Or maybe I add some green over here, see what that does. You know, all of that, all of that. But what I love about this is that it's something I cannot recreate, because everything was so organic about this. And then once this dries up, I can add my thank you to it. And this will be a thank you tag. And it looks like a flower, the impression of a flower. I will switch cameras so that you can appreciate the texture one more time. It's still wet, but you can see how gorgeous that looks. See? And it's got those white marks from the Posca marker. And it's got this flower that has a raised center. Once it dries up a little, I might add some gold to it. So there's plenty of stuff you can do to this. You can add embossing powders. You can sprinkle some embossing powder. You can do, you can even do gold flakes. Let me see if I have some. Actually, that's, as I was talking, I thought of that. I do have some gilded flakes here. So let's see, the gilding flakes might stick to the wet parts. Ooh, okay. So see, gold always elevates, takes it to the next level. And you don't need too much of it, just a little bit, and you're good to go. Typical drying time, I don't know, because I move on to the next thing. But I don't think it takes more than 10 minutes for any of this to dry up. Because I am not a heat gun kind of person with this. I only use the heat gun when I'm impatient and I want to do the next thing and I cannot wait for one thing to be done. But typically I will let things dry on their own, and I will let things move on their own. So actually, as this is drying up, let's just finish this off. So I would typically take this and I would stick it on another. So this is black. It's hard for me to write on black. I sometimes don't have a gold pen. Sometimes I do. So what I would typically do is I would take, and I'm looking for my other cardstock. So I would take cardstock, and if it is cut to the right size, which this is not, but I would typically just take some plain cardstock, stick this on, right? And then you have a frame around this and the deckled edge kind of shows better. And then you add your thank you to it. That's what I would do to finish this up. The white marker is the Posca marker. It's the Uni Posca. It's this one, Uni Posca marker, right? All right, switch the camera angle. Let's do another thing. So the next thing I want to do, so this is the fresco kind of fresco style painting, which on white will look very different than it does on black paper. I'm losing my tags. Okay, there's that one. The next thing I wanted to do was take some watercolor. Actually, you know, we still have some texture paste here. Let's just play a little bit more. I just had another idea. So let's just do that. Okay, supposed to take this out with this. So I'm not introducing any kind of bacteria or mold or whatever else from my fingers onto that. And I just had an idea. It's in my head. Don't know how it will translate on paper, but we shall see. So just bear with me here. I will explain to you what's in my head. I am just dropping some more bright colors on, And maybe I can do some reactive ink at some point too, but let's see. I'm just gonna mix this purple. This is such a luscious purple. Wow. Okay, and then mix some of this yellow. Of course, purity doesn't matter to me, as you can tell. I just took my purple, dipped it in the yellow, but that's fine. And then what I want to do is take my watercolor, and actually I'll take two substrates and see if it looks different, okay? Because this is, we're all experimenting, we're all playing, while seeing how things will work. So watercolor paper, let's just do black to the mix, why not? Okay, let's see how this shows up. All I'm going to do, very, very simple. Take one color and do 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, just 1, 2, 2. Okay, just to see what happens. Take the yellow, 1, 2, 3. You can also make flowers with this. 1, and I'll explain what's going on in my head. Don't think that this is going to be it. I have something in mind. I just want to see if it will work or not. Most likely will not work the way I have it in my head, so that's why I'm not saying anything, because I don't want you to feel disappointed. The moment I put it out in the universe, everybody gets an idea of what it should look like, and then it doesn't turn out that way. So I'm not saying a word. I'm just gonna do as I do and see what happens. Okay, so my idea, I'll just do this since I have some purple and I have some yellow. There. Okay, right? Very, very simple. Anybody can do that. Now, as this is, let's add some watercolor drops to that, or some reactive ink. What should we do, reactive ink or watercolor tags? Let's try both. Okay, so let's do like maybe a light blue. I don't know, maybe a light blue or a yellow. This is where I get confused when I start choosing colors. That's why I don't dwell. So I just went for yellow. I'm just putting it on the top like this. We'll do one tag at a time and see what happens. So did that. Take this. Use my spritzer. Oh, it's a neon yellow I chose. I didn't realize that. Let it drip. See what it does. Put this here to collect the water on my paper towel. Get some drips. Shake it, shake it. Ha ha. Okay, other side. Maybe do some blue. Lighter blue. I'm having fun. You can see my pitch changes, my excitement level changes, because suddenly I'm doing something I didn't plan on doing. I didn't anticipate I was doing. I had no idea I would be doing. I have no idea what this will turn into. But this is what excites me, because this is my lab and this is where I do all my experiments. And I am so grateful to all of you who give me permission to do this and tolerate me for doing this, because this is just too much fun. Okay, drip, drip, drip. Oh my gosh. I mean, okay, I cannot paint this. I cannot make this if I wanted to. I just cannot. It's impossible. And then since this is watercolor paper, this will take a lot more water than the other papers will. So let's just keep dripping, seeing what happens. And this is not for everyone, but I do encourage you to give it a whirl once in a while, because it will, if nothing else, inspire you to do something else differently. It's just a stress release. This is just a stress release form of doing art, a stress release way of doing mixed media. And I am going to switch. I went to museums in Paris, people, and there were paintings that were framed up that looked like this that were selling for $6,000. So look at this texture. Oh my gosh. I mean, insanity. When this dries up, this will be so awesome. And then you can just write thank you or stick washi tape or whatever, right? Oh, I'm going to do more of these. This is fun. So just dab, dab, dab your texture paste and your watercolors. Let's do this one. So this is, you can see how fast it dries up. This has not even been 5 minutes. It's almost dry. So the thinner it is, the faster it dries. The thicker it is, obviously the dollops will dry up a lot slower, but not very, very slow either. Switch the camera angle again. Let's try it with this one. So let's do maybe a dandelion on this one. I want to do reactive ink. I do want to do reactive ink on one of these, because I just want to see, I'm just curious how this will look. So this is fruit punch. I'll do fruit punch and I'll do yellow. And let's see what it does. Okay, so that's fruit punch right in the middle, and there's watercolor yellow right up top. Okay, so actually this is neon brights. I keep thinking this is dandelion. This one is dandelion, right? Yeah, this one's dandelion. But that's fine. It's all good. It's yellow. It'll brighten it up. Okay, spray, 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 and let them do their thing. So the thing about this kind of art is that you're not in control. And I am a control freak in real life. Everything is on my calendar. I have a set schedule. I just cannot, my life cannot function without it being structured. And so I feel for me, this is what my life needs, is just complete and utter experimentation and chaos, and just the permission to be. I'm using a paintbrush just to blend. This is not watercolor paper. This is just thick cardstock. And I'm just kind of blending these over here. And this is you can see it's very organic. It's not something I could possibly paint. This could mean a lot of different things. You could perceive a lot of different things. Let's use another reactive ink on this. How about pool party? Yeah, let's do pool party and see what it does. And it's all about how you end up finalizing it. Really, it's more about the presentation of it at the very end than the process, because the process tends to get a bit confusing, overwhelming, and confusing. But the end result, I find, by doing this is always amazing, because again, zero expectation. That's what happens when you have zero expectation from the end result, because you don't know what the end result is going to be. And when you take that out of the equation, it can be anything. It can be what it needs to be. And you have no say in that, which is what I love about this process, is you take yourself out of the equation. And most of the time, we're the ones stopping ourselves from trying new things. I'm just tilting this around. I'm just letting water play. You can see it's just a very, very simple. Wherever water wants to go, it's going. Whatever it wants to resist, it's resisting. In the process, sometimes mud is made, but there's an antidote for that, and that is gold. Oh, you know what? I can use my scraper on this, because I can. This is reactive ink. So reactive ink is going to allow me to spread it. Whoa. Okay, did you see that? This is what brings me joy. Just that little bit right there. Just that little bit. Oh, this is phenomenal. Okay, and then you can just drag. You don't even need to have a fancy scraper tool. Just use a fork. You know, again, don't limit yourself based on what you don't have. Use what you have and make it work. And we're just going to let this dry. So very different from this one here, which belongs in a gallery, I think. I just love these colors. I love playing with them. What happened to the black? Oh, here's the black one. Okay. Oh, I think the neon might look really, or the reactive ink. I think the reactive ink would look really, really cool on this. I think I'll do the blue, and I have a white reactive ink also, I believe, that I was using for splatters earlier. Splatters might actually look very cool on that second one that I did. After it dries up, maybe add some splatters. Okay, so we're doing blue and white, and I haven't added a line in the middle in either of the other ones, the first two, so I'm just going to add a line over here to this one. And spread it out, see what that does. I love how reactive ink almost is like liquid acrylic inks. It has a mind of its own. It's not as malleable as the liquid watercolors. Now I'm just obsessing over this tool to see what it does. Okay, so some of it, as I said, will not make your heart race with joy. This one is not doing that for me right now, so I'm just going to infuse it with color. And I think a little bit of, reactive inks, what I mean by them are these. These are the reactive inks from Hero Arts. They are the ones that when you apply, the refill inks can also be used straight from the bottle with a paintbrush for fine detail work. And these are actually used for re-inking your ink pads for stamping. But these, when they are on paper and you spray water on it, it leaves these splotches that are very random and very cool. Okay, so let's use my finger here. Just drag it through, see what that does. I think this would look really, really cool with some metallic watercolors in the mix. So again, this looks like nothing right now. I know most of you are not impressed by this, but that's okay. We can keep switching things up. And I promise you, when it all comes together, it'll look phenomenal. All of it always does. So don't give up on yourselves and say, oh, this doesn't look good right now, or what did I do? Why did I follow her advice? I probably should have just made something instead of trying to go this abstract route. All of those are fair criticisms of this particular technique of mine, which is basically no technique, but just play. But I want you to trust your gut. I want you to feel confident in doing this, in playing like this, because when you allow yourself to play like this without agenda is when the most surprising discoveries happen. Sometimes you'll discover you don't like it, and that's fine too. But it switches up your brain. It makes your brain work a little bit harder because your brain doesn't know what the heck it is that you're doing. Because you're not doing anything with the brain. You're not using your brain. You're just playing. The brain has no part in that. And when it confuses your brain and new synaptic connections occur because of that, it actually refuels your creativity, and you end up creating something that you might not have ever created before, doing what you normally do, which is in your comfort zone. So take this with a grain of salt, but know that this process, I have really embraced it, and I have known that it works for people who don't do my style at all. But they're able to get something out of it that is valuable to them. What I did here was take this Hero Art stencil. You can see I don't wash my stencils either. I'm very, very lazy. That's what it is. I'm basically just very lazy. But whatever inks were on this get transferred to the next project, and I'm okay with that because, again, no agenda. This is just my playtime. And I put the Hero Arts white paste through it, and I'm going to lift this up. And you've seen, I'm sure you've seen this technique earlier, been done many times. And again, this is a play on watercolors, and I have the bright orange sitting right here, so I'm just going to plop that over here. And I'm going to take a yellow. This time I will take the dandelion yellow because I've been wanting to use it. I'm just going to plop it over here. And watercolor paper I love because it can take a fair amount of water. Your mixed media paper would do the same thing. Regular cardstock might not take that much water, but it's still pretty sturdy, I think. And then you just take your bucket of water, spritz it around. Don't be frugal in how much water you put. And just let it do its thing. It will resist some parts. It will flow through some parts. Actually, I should change. This is what I want to change the camera angle for. Okay. You see how it travels? It just does its own thing. Now you could use the heat gun at any point to arrest the movement of this, and that will create a completely different look. Or you can just let it dry organically on its own. You can also dab parts of it where you want it to be more pastel-y and not as intense, and just play with it. You know, make your own color combinations. Don't worry about making mud. Mud is not the worst thing in the world. It's totally fine. Some people love brown. I know various different teachers in our school whose favorite color is brown. And if you want, you can take your paper towel, and while your texture paste is semi-wet, press that on and it will acquire the texture of your paper towel. It'll be very subtle, but it'll be there. And I love doing that. Obviously an accidental discovery that can happen. But see what I'm talking about? You've got a little bit of texture right there from the paper towel. The little dots on the texture paste as it was drying up. And then you see some on the yellow too. So it's very subtle, and that's what I like about mixed media, is that you can do so many different things with it, and it can keep inviting you in because there's just so much scope for subtlety. And you can just keep exploring, just keep seeing. You don't even have to spritz water at times. You can just let things run down on their own. And I love how these tendrils appear on this when the paper is still wet, right? And if you don't like the intensity of the color, spritz, let it travel. So just see how the paint kind of does its thing, let it travel, let it do. Just take yourself out of the equation, like I said earlier. Just take yourself out. See what it wants to do, let it do it. Let it just do its thing and be surprised. Allow yourself to be surprised. Don't try to control all aspects of this creative process, because then that's defeating the purpose of playing. Because you really don't want to be in charge here. But if there are things that you want to control, like here, I didn't want it to kind of go completely out of order. So I did that. And then when you add some gold to it, it takes it to another level. So let's do that. Where are my gilding flakes? Let's do the gold again. Or maybe the gold wax this time. Actually, I don't know if my gold wax has dried up since the last time I used it. It's been at least 3 weeks. Oh, it's fine. Yay, hooray. So yeah, you can just do gold blobs. And you see, I'm not using fancy like colored pencils. I don't have my distress markers out. I don't have many tools. It's just the same things over and over again, but using them differently in a different order, combining them, allowing myself to play, and I get different results each time. Okay, so I added the gold to it, the gold wax. Now you can see the shine of the gold wax. This is all still very wet, so we'll give it a minute to dry. I'm going to change the angle again, and let's goldify some of this other stuff. This, by the way, nobody asked, but I just want to share. This is palette paper, and I use this for all my acrylic paintings. And after the paint dries up, and I will save this, I will not throw this away. This texture paste is going to dry up. I'm going to keep using it. Once it gets full, I peel off the paint. This is peeled off paint from my palette paper, and then I will use this as collage material on cards and such, and even on my gratitude tags. So nothing goes to waste. You can get creative with just about every single element of what it is that you're doing. Think outside the box. Let your imagination soar. You can tear. I actually have a class on this on my website, on using peeled off paint and turning it into beautiful collage cards. Okay, so let's goldify. That's what we were going to do. I'm just going to put some things away so we can start wrapping up and finalizing some of these gratitude tags, so you can actually see how it all comes together at the end. Because right now I know I have some doubters. I know you're being very kind and gracious, but I know that this is so out there, my process, that sometimes you just need to see the end product to feel convinced that you too can give yourself permission to play, and it will be fine. You will be fine. Everything will be fine, and whoever gets these will appreciate them no matter what. Because it's not about what you made. It's about you spending the time to make something and then giving it away, not holding it precious. Because some of these, the paintings that I've given away, have turned out so cool that I've taken like 50 million pictures of them before handing them out, but I still have handed them out. And that's the thing, you spread it. You spread the joy. You just do that. That's what you do for people. Imagine someone never being thanked for 30 years, doing the job they do every day. I cannot get over that. I think that will haunt me for a very long time. That somebody can be showing up to their workplace and just not having been thanked for the work they do. It's just bizarre to me that we are so insensitive. Okay, so I'm just finishing up with gold, okay? This is all cool and dandy. I don't like how pale this is, so I will add, because I'm a bright color person, I will add some more color to this, because again, this is watercolor paper. This will take a lot of abuse. And whenever you're in doubt, use gold. That's my mantra. Just use gold. Whenever in doubt, use gold. Gold solves everything. It's the best solution. Okay, so to finish these up, let me just first close my gold wax here. We'll start with the first one that I did, because this one is almost dry. And we are going to see if we can, this might be too big to paste on. I do want to glue it on to a sturdier base. This is too narrow, so we're going to cut this one. Okay, let's do that. I have my cutter handy. I'm just going to get up for a second and get my decollage cutter. And I'm going to size this so that I just want it to look nice. I don't want it to look scrappy because I know I'm giving it to someone who may keep it for many years. So I'm just going to use this. And again, I don't measure stuff, so this is like my non-technical way of doing everything. I normally would tear, but my hands are too dirty right now to tear. So I'm just using my decollage trimmer for this. You can just as easily, if you don't have a decollage trimmer, just tear. It's all good. Don't need fancy tools. I cannot insist enough. You do not need fancy tools to do any of this. This is all very, very doable without fancy stuff. I want to goldify this edge. So I like the gold wax for that. I'm just going to take the gold wax. Again, I've not done this before. This is me just kind of figuring this out as I go. As I put this against the white background, I felt like the gold edging would help. Yes, Melissa, don't worry about following rules. They do not exist, and gold is your best problem solver. Thanks for that laugh. I love the takeaways. Yes, yes, my friend. Gold solves everything, every single thing. Okay. I like this better against the white. So you're just improvising. That's what this is, improv. This is art improv. I hate going up on stage in front of a bazillion people and doing improv, but this I could do all day long, every day. Just, every single day. Show up, do this for yourselves. Don't do it for anyone else. And okay, Ollie's just barking at someone. I will insist that take the pressure out of your head. When I hand out these gratitude tags, when I'm painting them in the flight, when I'm painting them at a cafe, at a restaurant, wherever I am, even at home when I'm making these, I'm not thinking about being judged by the person receiving them. I don't know who the recipient will be. I really don't. I don't. I have no idea if it's going to be the janitor at my daughter's school, or it's going to be the FedEx driver that delivered our package safely, or it's going to be someone who needs a pick-me-up, or did something kind, or said hello to my dog, or to me if I was just sitting by myself somewhere and I want to thank them for their kindness. I don't know who the recipient will be, so I'm not going to bog myself down with the thought of being judged on this, because I have handed out enough of these to know it doesn't matter what they look like. It doesn't matter. None of anything matters. None of it matters. It's the fact that you're giving it to them and they're not expecting anything from you. That is what is beautiful about this whole thing. This is a charcoal pencil, and I thought it'd be cool if I just circled some of these in different ways. I don't know why, but I think it'll kind of look cool. So this is gold. And you could also get fancy about these and take out your sewing machines or your needle and thread and add some cross stitches to it, or just some running stitches to some of this. Make them really, really like organic in that sense, have another texture element, so to speak, on them. It's just so simple. It's so simple to take it wherever you want to take it. It doesn't have to be a certain way. I almost feel like this needs some black. So, we have the Hero Art stamps, don't we? Yes, we do. All of these, I love, 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 love. Love all of these stamps. Yeah, I'm just going to use some of these on this. And again, there's texture paste already on there. There's watercolor on there. There's no method to this madness. It's all going to be just scraps of black marks, if you will. Random spots in random ways, just for some extra interest, if you will, nothing else. And sometimes I will also do this, where I will just take this ink pad and just edge it. And to me, sometimes that's the missing piece that kind of brings everything together. It's simple. It's really, really simple. Just kind of, you know, see how it's making you feel and just go with that. And if something's feeling off to you, if it's not feeling like it's done yet, just keep adding. If it feels like it's too much, start subtracting. Add some more black here. I just feel like it needs that grounding with a deeper, darker color, because everything turned out so pastel-y in this. And this is how I make things my own, is by looking at it, squinting at it, making marks. Imperfection is the name of the game, as is play. And suddenly it goes from being blah to being something that has many different elements. So you see, it's very, very simple to do stuff like that. And then you can either take, so for this one, going back and forth, just finishing things up. For this one, I would add a thank you sticker right here. And this one's done. So it says thank you, which is gold foiled. It has this texture. I'm going to switch cameras so you can appreciate the texture. This is with the texture paste and the coloring in it. It's very, very raised. It's very raised from the surface. And it has that gold flaking, the gilded flakes, and then it has the thank you sticker. And it has the gold edging with the gold wax. I just love how this turned out, honestly. I mean, bragging about my own art, but I just love it. I also love how this one is. And you can add a gold sticker on this. You can just write thank you. You can stamp thank you. This has different textural fields. It has different marks on this. And then you have this one. I'm going to switch cameras again. I hope I'm not making you dizzy with all the switching of the cameras, but I really just want you to appreciate how beautiful the texture paste is. It's just so fun. And I do know it's 6:07. Somebody gave me a thumbs down. That's the first time I got a thumbs down in a live. I'm sorry you didn't like it. I hope it wasn't a waste of your time. And if it was, you're welcome to sign out. You don't have to watch the whole thing, but please be kind, people. It's if it's not your cup of tea, I appreciate that. That's okay. It doesn't have to be. But that's what happens when you're on the internet. Everybody has an opinion, and they don't mind sharing it. But it would go a long way if all of us could just be a little bit kinder to others and to ourselves. All right, so this thank you. This is a washi tape, and I think this will look nice on this one. So I'm just going to place this here. And so this is a nice thank you. And then we just use scissors, which I know I had somewhere. They're right here. And just trim this off. All right. I'm seeing 26 thumbs up and 1 thumbs down. But that's okay. It's just one person out of the many, 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 many that are enjoying this. So, which is the reason why we make gratitude tags, is so we can spread kindness, we can spread gratitude, we can show what we can be. You know, take the selfishness out of it, take the entitlement out of it. Again, goldifying the edges here. And I'm not going to let this get to me. I just was a little startled when I saw it. So it's okay. It's okay. It was just my initial reaction to it. It's not something I'm going to dwell over. So no hurt feelings here. I do understand not everybody likes what I do, and that's okay. I always tell my daughter, it's something that Tim and Mario always say, if you have nothing nice to say, then just don't say anything. You know, I think that's a good policy to have, whether you're an adult or a child. I say that to my daughter all the time. You can think it if you're thinking something that's not so nice or polite to say, but just don't voice it then, you know? It's okay. All right, so let's see. I think the black will look good on this one too. So we'll just go with black on this one as well. And again, these are all looking very, very different, using just basically the same supplies, but varying your substrate. So you can see how having a different background paper makes the difference if you do this on black versus if you do this on white. versus if you do this on cardstock versus if you do it on watercolor paper. So you can just use your same texture paste, your same watercolors, your same gold wax, and still make everything look really, really unique. I almost feel like I want to cut this up and stick this. So I'm going to do that because I almost feel like this is too distinct. So you see my impromptu nature. I just feel like this would look so much better if it were like this and then it had some stamping at the bottom. And I think that's what I'll do with these two, or this one can go in the middle here. And then this could make like a nice bookmark. So sometimes you can just cut stuff up. Just don't feel wedded to it, right? Just don't dwell on something and trash it. Don't ever trash your art. It's too precious. It's a form of self-expression. You might not love it in the moment, but somebody else might just love it, might love it to bits. So don't be too harsh on yourself is my other thing. I notice that a lot of us are. I know I am, and I'm so grateful for all of you on Instagram and on Facebook and who respond to my newsletters, who keep encouraging me when I am down in the dumps. So you see what I did there? That was wet paint, the reactive paint, and I just took my finger and I just kind of made that into a circle and I stuck the thank you on that because that was a really nice background for it. And then I'm going to goldify. Actually, you know what? Hi, sweetie. What happened? Ollie's here. What happened? Who were you barking at? I know. Mama's hands are all painty. I know. I'm going to come in a bit. Just finishing up. I love you too. Okay, so I'm going to take my black ink pad, which is where... Hi, baby boy. Yes. Okay, I'm just going to pick him up for a second here because he's biting my hand off. You want to say hi to everyone? Come here. Come here. Come here. Okay. Ollie's here. Yes. Okay. Here we are. This is Ollie. He is a 1-year-old Australian Labradoodle. And I hope that you got something out of this. I will post the finished product, obviously, the final thank you tags on the Facebook page. And I think that you will enjoy seeing them with the tassels and everything. It is 6:12. I do need to go pick up my daughter. And he is now in my lap and I have paint on my hands. So I think this is a natural kind of way of saying bye. But I will finish these up tonight and I will hold these up so you can see. This is the first one. This is on black watercolor paper with a texture paste. And I think this is a very like al fresco kind of painting. And then this one I absolutely love. I think this would make a very, very cool bookmark. Okay, you're slipping out. Why don't you get down? Let me finish this, okay? And then these are the other two. The black watercolor paper, the splotches. All of them look very, very different, right? I just love. And then I'll finish gluing these. I'll finish gluing this one and I'll finish, the light is so harsh. I'll finish gluing this one with a texture paste and this one. And then I will share all of these on the Facebook page. I hope you got something out of them. If you do none of this, I encourage you to just do these, the first two that I made. And hand them out, please. Don't keep them with you. Just hand them out. I know a lot of people in the last 5 years who have been following me, who have made gratitude tags, and they carry them in their purse and they don't hand them out. The whole point of this is to hand it out, to spread joy, to spread kindness, to share handmade kindness, to get over yourself and just spread the joy, because know that nobody's judging you. This is not, these are not frameable pieces of art. These mean so much more than just the art on it. It's the love that you're sharing out with the community. So please go ahead and make these gratitude tags, treat these little pieces of paper as your mini canvases, and just spread the love and have so much fun while doing it. Thank you so much for being here. I love you all, and I will share the final products with you on the Facebook page by tomorrow. Thank you so much for this opportunity, Libby and Brianne and Lee. Thank you so much for all you do, and Holly, for everything that you're doing to make mixed media not as fearful as people think of it. So thank you. It brings a lot of joy to me, and I hope it brings a lot of joy to you. Have a wonderful evening and an amazing week ahead. Bye.